I'm a dirt dog, your bitch ass when I see you.
What's good, everybody? What's good? It's your boy, Cardinal Bud Crawford, or E.S. Red, if that's what you won't call me. The heat is back, y'all. The heat is back. We got a new topic. Let's get this done real fast, man. Classic fights. Terence Crawford offered 3-fight deal for Spence. Rematch or one and done. Alright, y'all, so news is breaking that Terence Crawford was offered a 3-fight deal for the undisputed super fight with Errol Spence Jr. Now, this is for all the Crawford fans who've been saying for weeks and weeks, there is no contract. Why are all these details constantly coming out about the fight, about the contract, what's in the contract, what are the stipulations to make this fight? Everything involved in a contract or a negotiation process is coming out. Eventually it's going to come out. They can't hold that information forever. It'll eventually be dropped to the boxing public. So for all you Terence Crawford fans who say there is no contract, this fight, Errol Spence is ducking, whatever, man. It's just all nonsense at this point. So, from what I'm hearing, and I don't know how true this is just some stuff that's being reported at the moment by fellow YouTubers, that there's a 3-fight deal on the table. What does that mean? And who would have written that into the contract or written that into the contract? Me personally, I think that is something. Automatically, I think Errol Spence is going to have a rematch clause. We spoke a little bit about this yesterday. Automatically, I would think he would have a rematch clause into his contract. And, maybe for just ish and giggles, he might have wrote in the 3rd fight as well, just in case. Let's say he won the 1st, Terence Crawford won the 2nd. You got to have a rubber match. So, do I believe it's going to play out like that? Listen, I think somebody's going to get hurt in this fight. I don't think it might be a 2-fight deal, might be a 3-fight. But I believe that the passions are going to be so high, adrenaline is going to be running so high during this fight. Somebody's going to get hurt during this fight, whether it's Spence or Crawford. I'm going with Spence, so I think it's going to be Crawford. But I'm pretty sure there's plenty of fans who are rolling with Crawford who thinks it's going to be Spence. So if it actually plays out that way and one of these guys is injured or, takes damage to where it takes a few months, 4 or 5 months to recover, I think you're not going to see them immediately rematch the fight. Now, they might have something written into the contract to where they immediately rematch the fight, but I don't think it's going to play out that way. And I think because both of these guys are aging, because both of them are talking that 154 talk, I don't see the winner of this fight waiting around for Boots Ennis to come take their belts. I don't think that they're going to immediately drop their straps, but I do think you'll see a testing of the water at 154 by whoever wins. Simply because there are too many mandatory fights that could be made and that have been put to the side for years and years trying to make these fights. Errol Spence hasn't fought his mandatory opponent, I think, since Kell Brook, I think might have been his last mandatory opponent. And since then, he's been, he's had the car accident. He tried to make the fight with Crawford, didn't get made. Some stuff got pushed to the side. Tried to make the Pacquiao fight, didn't get made. Other fights got pushed to the side. Then he came back and fought Ugas instead of a mandatory. So there's only so long that they're going to wait out, these sanctioning bodies are going to wait this process out. And once this undisputed is done, somebody's gonna come knocking. Whether it's the WBA, WBO, IBF, WBC, one of these sanctioning bodies is gonna say, okay, enough is enough. One of you guys have unified. You're the undisputed champion. Now you have to start giving people title shots. And that's when you got to start thinking, okay, either I'm going to fight Boots Ennis, I'm going to fight Virgil Ortiz, and neither one of these fights come with great big bags of money. Or you can go up and fight a Charlo, you can go up and fight a Canelo, you can go up and fight a Triple G. There is a Trojan horse that's always sitting out there, even though he just got beaten his last fight, which is Manny Pacquiao, who has been hinting at coming back, but he wants a mega fight to come back. He wants a Mayweather or a Spence or a Crawford, somebody like that to face up with. I don't think he wants any low-level competition. So, it's going to be really hard for one of these guys to just stick around and wait for the other one to heal. Whoever the winner of this is, I don't think they're going to stick around and wait for the other one to heal. I think what'll happen is, depending on how bad somebody gets hurt, let's say, just for ish and giggles, I'm going to be a Terence Crawford advocate for a second. Let's say Crawford wins the fight. He breaks Spence's eye socket, for example, the same way Ugai's done. That's like a 4-month healing process for that injury. Or even a rib, that could be a 3 to 4 month healing process. So you're talking about Terence Crawford not doing anything for 3 to 4 months, which he would have that recovery period, which is usually 8 weeks, which would be like 2 months after the fight. So you got those 2 months for recovery, and then you got another 2 months that you would have to sit around doing nothing, waiting for Spence to either come back or decide to maybe retire, or decide to fight maybe a Charlo and get some more money, depending on how bad he would have gotten beat. Because there's a possibility if one of these guys lose and gets injured and gets beat real bad, that they might not want to run it back. So they might want to run it back, just not immediately. Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury did not immediately run back that fight, even though they should have. I think Tyson Fury had 1 or 2 fights in between those, that trilogy taking place. So there's not always an immediate run back. So for me personally, I think it's going to be a one and done in the beginning, then maybe 8 to 9, 10, maybe even a year later, you might see a rematch. So I think in the beginning it'll be a one and done for maybe the first year, depending on how bad. Now, if it's just a 12-round decision, that changes everything. And I'm going solely off, I feel like somebody's getting hurt in this fight. But if there's a 12-round decision in this fight, and maybe a split decision, or somebody wins by a point, that's when you'll see it immediately run back. Whoever was to win by that point, which I don't see either one of these guys winning by a point. I anticipate some drama in this fight. But let's say, Errol Spence wins by a point. Then I think you would see him immediately want to run it back, because he would want a definitive victory, because people are going to chew him up for not having a definitive victory, only beating them by a certain, such a small margin, and then you're going to see him want to immediately rematch. And plus, both guys will only take about 2 months to heal instead of a 4 to a 6 months healing process. So it wouldn't slow the fight down as much. But if there's drama, if there's a lot of physicality in this fight, if somebody gets hurt, gets cut really bad, or gets a rib broke, gets an eye socket torn out, a nose rearranged or something, then we're going to have another set of issues with this fight. And running the fight back is going to become an issue, because I don't think neither one of these guys want to raid around for Boots. I think Boots is the problem in the division, as well as Virgil Ortiz to a lesser extent, but Boots' talent level makes him a problem, and people recognize it when they see Boots fight. Some people say he looks like a baby Crawford. Some people say he's better than Crawford. I'm of the opinion he is a better talent than Terence Crawford. More speed, quicker switches, higher ring IQ, more power in both hands. This guy is a problem. And I don't see Spence or Crawford wanting to raid around. Not saying neither one of those guys wouldn't beat him, or if they actually faced up with him. I definitely think Errol Spence has the better shot. But teach his own, depends on who you ask. But I think Errol Spence will have the better shot, because I think he's going to beat Crawford anyway. And I think if he beats Crawford, then that's a slight blueprint to beating Ennis. You know, he would have been prepared for the Ennis fight a lot more than if he just went straight into an Ennis fight. Now, who would they face if they went up in weight? If I was Errol Spence, and I know him and Charlo are friends, I would kind of sideline that Charlo talk. I don't think he needs to fight Charlo. Canelo is the biggest fight still. Canelo is the biggest fight still because Canelo's fan base supports Canelo. So if he wanted to make the hugest fight of his career, it actually wouldn't be against Terence Crawford. If he beat Terence Crawford, beat him convincingly, broke his eye socket up or his ribs or something, and Terence Crawford could not immediately rematch him, then I think it would be in Errol Spence's best interest to target Canelo, maybe Pacquiao. You know, I'm a Pacquiao fan. I'm always going to bring Pacquiao up. But to target Canelo and try to get that big money purse. And, I think they can make that fight 155, maybe 160. That fight could definitely be made. And I think it's winnable on Errol Spence's end as long as he does everything that he's supposed to do. Now, what about Terence Crawford? If he was to win and move up to 154, who should he face off with? If I was him, I would start slow because I'm not, even if he beat Errol Spence, I still would not be sold on Terence Crawford as the best guy out there. I would still say that he's second tier, but I would think Triple G would be his best intro into a higher weight. I think he should go after Triple G because Triple G is getting older, and I think that's a slightly easier fight than a Canelo. Or he could go after Canelo too. You know, I don't think. I think he could give Canelo a quick run for his money, but I think Canelo's more of a problem. I think Charlo's a problem for both of those guys, and I think they should both avoid the Charlo situation. But let me know what y'all think. My camera's overheating, so I gotta get out of here. Hit that like button for me. Subscribe, share, tell a friend, anybody you want to. Hit me up on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTubes. You're more likely to get a response on YouTube than any of the other ones. It's your boy, Cardinal Bud Crawford, or E.S. Red, if that's what you want to call me, and we are out of here.
There's no license to carry 'em.